St. Hilda's House is really an expression of Christ Church's really more than century-long commitment to New Haven and to our deep relationship with New Haven, but also it's an expression of how our worship of God points toward the presence of God both in the church and outside of its walls.
I grew up in a very rural, middle-class, upper-middle-class, white community where I wasn't really exposed to a lot of diversity. And I came to realize during college that it was really a bubble. And as I contemplate or I feel called to serve in the church, in the world, it isn't just in that middle-class white bubble. And while I learned a lot and, had a really good upbringing, I recognized that my experience is not an authentic experience of everything the world has to offer. And so I feel called to urban ministry and to ministering to the whole world and the whole church, which isn't just made up of, white middle-class people from, rural Midwest.
In an age of willful individualism, I would say that we are drawn by the beauty that we find in the church, the example of Jesus, and the witness of our tradition. We are drawn by that to embody a Trinitarian theology in our own lives. And so in this program, we live in intentional community. We cook for each other, we pray for each other, we live together, and we navigate the challenges that entails. And I would say that it's not as easy as living alone, but that it's far more rewarding. We have morning prayer every morning. We meet together throughout the week with a number of different advisors to discuss spirituality, issues relating to the house and our living situation. We join with the community at Berkeley Divinity School for their services, and we are also involved in the services here as readers or acolytes and assisting
when
at the altar.
When the parish was founded, it was founded in a neighborhood called Poverty Square, and this was the church's first architectural, liturgical, sacramental expression of our commitment to people who couldn't afford to rent a pew in Episcopal and Anglican churches before that. When you walk in the doors here, there's a sign that says that all seats in this church are free. That's because prior to that, you had to pay money to be in church. And this, in many ways, was a radical social experiment, and it continues to be that. It was a radical way of saying that the church is the place where all people, for all time and in all places, encounter Christ. And so that's part of what this program is doing, is becoming yet another expression of that commitment to a church where anyone can come in, regardless of status, wealth, and all those markers that culture says are important and that we are saying are irrelevant. God belongs everywhere and in all places, and that we, as Christians, belong in those places too. And it's not thereby but the grace of God go I, it's thereby with God's grace I must go, and that's what we're doing, we're going.